Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 and our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are using the Johnson edition. We are at poem 212, Least Rivers Docile to Some Sea. Now, this is one of the shortest poems in all of the Johnson edition. It's only 2 lines. We've already, and it is another Sam Boyle's poem we should point out, we're going back to poems 106 and 124. You'll definitely want to go back and study what we've already had to say about those 2 poems. I love Emily's 1063 line, ashes denote that fire was, and I love the idea that when we come to these really short poems, there's a whole lot often going on, can I say it, beneath the river, beneath the waters, beneath the currents, and that will be a significant reference given this poem. Now our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at lunchstrong.net, down that left-hand side, again, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already worked through our set of introductory comments. I'm hopeful that you've worked through our preceding 211 poems. We just finished with 211 and Come Slowly Eden, and it is significant that this poem follows that. Many have commented on the fact that these 2 poems actually are companion reads and need to be read as such, and in that regards, maybe both these poems have something to do with Sam Boyle's. Possibly Sam Boyle's as the master, as we've already commented in other discussions. I'm hopeful that you'll go back and look specifically at our study of 106 and 124 to notice how they will play rather nicely with this poem. Now, again, notice the power of the comparison, and Emily loves to do this. And even though this is a brief little 2-line poem, it does play the game of comparisons rather nicely. Least rivers docile to some sea, my Caspian, thee. Now, it is, of course, interesting that we are working with this idea of least to Caspian greatest. Okay, so the comparisons are being made. And in 9 poems, she will use this word docile, which will take us back to our, to our ideas of small, of little, and that kind of thing. So, it's not unusual. It's not unusual for us to see it. Notice, least rivers, that is to say, the lesser known, docile to some sea. In other words, meandering might be our use of that word. But notice, she will then say, instead of a least river, the Caspian is being referenced here. We will hear about this one in poems 276, 1107, 1291, and then in poem 1754. I'll even go there just briefly at 1754, just because it's a fun one for us to look at. And when we get to this one near the end of our study, right, at 1754, it'll be like this. To lose thee, sweeter than to gain, all our hearts I knew. 'Tis true the drought is destitute, but then I had the dew. The Caspian has its realms of sand, its other realm of sea. Without the sterile prerequisite, no Caspian could be. In other words, the Caspian becomes symbolic. Well, symbolic of what? Or symbolic of whom? Well, that's the real question. Notice, she just says, thee. Many have speculated that it is in fact Sam Boyle's. And when we get to poem 1086, we'll be playing a similar kind of game. I'll read that one just for context, and I'll let, again, you guys begin to kind of think through how you want to read these poems. What twigs we held by, oh, the view when life's swift river striven through. We paused before a further plunge to take momentum as the fringe. Upon a former garment shows the garment cast, our props disclose so scant, so eminently small of might to help, so pitiful to sink. If we had labored fond, the diligence were not more blind. How scant by everlasting light the discs that satisfied our sight, how dimmer than a Saturn's bar the things esteemed for things that are. And again, when we come to 1086, we'll enjoy coming back to remind ourselves of this poem. Well, what are we going to do with this poem at level 2A? Well, I think our argument is that a true pal, a true friend, is in fact the Caspian, as opposed to all the other little small, docile kinds of rivers. Note at 2B, note the balance of this little poem, the, again, comparison of rivers to seas and all of that. At 3A, as we said, Back to poem 106, the daisy follows soft the sun, and 124, in lands I never saw. And you'll see some similarities there. And of course, 1086, we already commented on. Finally, at 3b, to own a poem like this, I guess I can ask it this way. Who in your life is your Caspian? That is to say, the one that you are most attracted to because of the size, the depth of their capacities, their wisdom, however you wish to think of it. And in what regards are you a Caspian to anyone? And I'm hopeful that Emily is increasingly becoming a Caspian for all of us. Thank you.